Hi everyone, Jackie here with Enjoying Life's Journey while running a successful household. Welcome to the channel and welcome to another monthly debt payoff and net worth update. We're going to take a look. I have a very basic tracker on my Excel sheet, but I also have some new paper trackers that we're going to be coloring in and filling out as we go as well. So I basically track our net worth. So what is your net worth? Your net worth is all of your assets, whether that's your house, your vehicles, your rental properties, your cash in the bank, your retirement accounts, your investment accounts, whatever it might be, minus the debt that you owe on them equals your net worth. So in these videos, I like to track the net worth, and I also like to kind of just add up how much were we able to pay off on the debt. Our goal is to be 100% debt free, including the house, so we can retire either early or with more money. How fast can we do it? I don't know, but we're trying our best. The goal for 2022 is to pay off our teardrop trailer. So hopefully in the next couple months, you're gonna see a bigger jump on those. But real quick, we're gonna go on the Excel tracker and see where's everything at. So a very, very basic tracker here. I just like to keep track of the things that we have going on. So we are gonna be doing our we're finishing out March. So we had another green month, meaning we had a growth in our overall net worth. The first category I like to start with is our house. So we purchased our house back in the summer of 2018 for $165,000, but then we refinanced and took some money out last year. So basically $193,000 if that's how you want to think about it. We had a official appraisal done in June of last year, but now we just go over what does the value on Zillow say. Obviously, we don't plan on selling this house, but it's good to know. So as of right now, Zillow, or as the end of April, Zillow says our house is now worth $302,000. That is insane, considering we bought it for $165,000 originally. But we all know there could be this bubble, so it could come crashing down. But again, we don't plan on selling anytime soon. But if we did want to sell, now would probably be the time. Our loan is now down. We've been paying our minimum payment of $1,300 a month, and about $800 of that goes towards the principal, and so we're down to $186,649 is what we owe. So we have a positive equity in our home of $115,000. Now we're focusing on paying off all of our debt, including our house. Our house, when we refinanced, we had our new loan was $193,600. I started tracking this later, so it's just, you know, it's tracked up till March at this point. So I just went ahead, if you notice here on each one I have 3/2022, so this just tells me as of March, you know, that's where we're at. If I divide by the 100 squares, each square for this one is $1,936. The payment for the mortgage is about $1,300, and about $800 and something goes towards the principal. A little over half a square. So we just, you know, we're not going to be coloring in much. We'll be working our way slowly until the teardrop and the truck are paid off. The next category we check is my husband's truck. Usually what I'm doing is every 3 months I'm going onto the Kelley Blue Book and updating to see, based on his new mileage and everything, what is the truck still worth. And what I'm doing is I'm doing the trade-in value, and I'm doing the lowest, what the trade-in value for the lowest would be if we were to trade his truck in. Again, we don't have any desire to trade it in. We actually want to pay it off, and we want to keep it until it's in like the 250,000 mile range, and we want to really get our use out of it. So we're thinking he might need a new truck in like 8 years. But the value did go down, which is expected with vehicles, to $35,000. We $35,184, and he still owed $35,814. So now we are negative. So if we were to try to trade in the truck, we would have that $630 upside down. So we'd either have to pay that extra $630 to make it even, or that would be rolled over into a new thing. And this is where a lot of people start to get into trouble when they're trading their vehicles in too often and they owe more than it's worth, and it just starts rippling over and rippling over. That's where we tend to find ourselves in trouble. The next one up is my husband's truck. We financed $41,000. Again, I just kind of got caught up here. We purchased the truck last year in the middle of the year, so this is not just 1 month of payments, this is several months of payments. But again, if I take that $41,000 divided by the 100 squares, each square for this one is worth $411. If we make our regular payment almost $600, it's $590 as our regular payment, and about $425 or so goes towards the actual principal. So roughly, if we're just making the minimum payment on this particular tracker, we'll be coloring in 1 square a month until we can tackle that further. My car, we paid off my car last year using part of the refinance. So in a way, it's kind of just a new consolidated debt into the mortgage, but that actually went up in value. So this is two times in a row that my car, I have a Toyota CHR, I'm really surprised it went up in value. It's $24,284. We owe zero, so this is if we were to try to sell it, that's how much I would get. I don't know if I mentioned, so my husband has a 2019 Toyota Tacoma. It is a 6-cylinder 4x4, the TRD 4x4 off-roading version. I have a 2019 CHR, so same year. Ricky has about 60,000 miles on the truck, and I only have about 25,000 miles on my car. I am a stay-at-home mom, and I deliver 1 day a week for DoorDash or Amazon Flex, not driving very much at all. The next category we have is our teardrop trailer. We purchased this last year. We purchased it for $13,900. With sales tax and all of that, we actually spent closer to $16,000. And I'm leaving this orange. Basically, I just looked online for this same teardrop that is being sold currently, and it's still selling. People are still selling it for $16,000. So I just left it at the $13,900, and we owe $10,225. Similar to the house and the truck, we made our minimum payment. However, on the teardrop, we actually did make an extra $115 payment towards the principal. Is our teardrop trailer. So we started at $10,654. That's how much we financed. What I've done, there's 100 squares on these forms, so basically I divide that amount by 100, so each square for this particular one is worth $106.54. So I actually colored in 1 square because I made an extra payment on the teardrop. I made a $115 payment on the teardrop in March, at the very end of March. So I went ahead and added that square. In April, I'll get to add more as well. So join me next month and we'll actually be coloring in more of this teardrop. And the goal is to have this paid off by the end of the year. So each month I'm going to try to use it just, I'll switch between the orange and the blue, and we'll see how much progress we can make each month. Next category for tracking purposes is our savings account. So this number we're always going to see fluctuating up and down, because this includes our emergency savings account as well as our spending savings account. So we did spend about $400 for some house projects out of the savings, so we still have $5,043 saved. But starting off here, our first finance goal, our first tracking goal, is to save up $3,600 as our starter emergency fund. This is the equivalent of 1 month worth of expenses for us. Then we're going to start focusing on our debt, and then we will gradually increase this. Keep in mind, once you pay off different debts, this number should go down because that's less expenses that you need to cover. Currently, right now, we're building a 3-month supply of our food stockpile. So once I have that, this actually emergency fund will be lowered by $400 because this does include $400 for food. But if we have the physical food on hand, we won't need that in cash unless we wanted to, obviously. For today's video, we're basically focusing on ending out March. However, we have some of April. You can see what we've colored in so far, and actually we're able to color in, I think, 14 more squares I can color in. We're about halfway to our savings goal. The goal is to have this $3,600 by the end of April. We've been adding quite a bit of savings for the month of April, so join me next month and we'll see hopefully how much this has gone up unless we have that patio project done, then it might go down. The next category we have are getting into our retirement savings or our investments, our retirement investments. So my husband's 401k, this is with his old employer, so that's up to $28,909. We had 2 negative months and now it's back up, but we're still not back up to the 30,000 we had at the end of last year. So this 401k is going to sit tight where it's at. My husband is with a new employer. We are not rolling it over to an IRA. Once my husband is able to invest in the new 401k, we're going to roll it over to the new 401k. Because we want to have the opportunity to retire early, we want the money in the 401k where we can possibly use what's called the IRS 55 rule. If you don't know what that is, I might make another video about it later, but you can always Google it. So we don't want that money in an IRA because we will not be able to access it early. But if it's in a 401k, we can access it early with the 55 rule. We will not be able to probably do the new 401k until October of this year, so we'll see. I have 2 Roth IRAs, and the only reason I have 2 Roth IRAs, one I set up myself with Vanguard, and then the other one was when I used to work at the Amazon warehouse. I had a Roth 401k. They did require me to roll it over right away, and that just happened to be with Fidelity, so I kept it with Fidelity. So I have a Vanguard and a Fidelity Roth IRA. So my Vanguard increased in value a little bit, so that's $564. I did not add anything to it. The Fidelity went down a little bit, so that's $358. And then I do have a Robinhood account. This is just investments, so this is not a retirement account, so I do not have any type of tax advantages in this account. And again, I didn't add anything to it. It just grew in value slightly, so it's at $238.57. And then I am using my gaming laptop, my graphics card on my gaming laptop to mine for Bitcoin. So I'm up to $92.93 worth of Bitcoin. So basically our assets minus our debt, our net worth is now $177,986. So this is a $5,700 increase in our net worth from last month. So still a really good month, even though we did have a few areas go down, we had other areas go up. Also next month, while we're waiting for the 401k, we will be opening a Roth IRA for Ricky. So we'll be adding that here as well. One other thing we do not have calculating on here is we do have a paid for motorcycle, but this was a salvaged motorcycle. We purchased it for about $4,000. So it's not, I mean, we would not be selling it or doing anything with it. We don't have any debt associated with it. But if we were to get rid of it, I mean, I guess it would raise our net worth by maybe $1,000. So if I really wanted to, I could add it on here, but it's not on here yet. So just kind of closing out the month, what did we have? Like I said, our net worth increased by $5,700. We paid off $1,501 worth of debt. Like I mentioned, most of this is that regular monthly payment. So when you have your monthly payment, part of it goes to the principal, part of it goes to the interest, and then that's that extra $115 we made on the teardrop. So we paid a little bit extra from last month. Then lastly, I went ahead and have just the full-on debt-free land. So this is our total debt with the mortgage, the truck, and the teardrop. So it's $245,000. It's actually not that bad considering most people's mortgages are probably more than our overall debt. So I'm very proud of us for picking a smaller house, having a smaller mortgage. Again, I just started this tracker, so we just have it there, but dividing up all of that debt between the 100 squares, we're looking at $2,453 per is what each square is worth. So I should be able to color in again, probably about half a square if we were only doing the minimum payments. Like I mentioned, we paid extra on the teardrop. We paid $115 extra on the teardrop in March. So in April, we're on track to pay an extra $400. So I'll actually probably get to color in like 4.5 squares. And I forgot to mention that our regular payment for the teardrop is $118, and about 65 of that goes towards principal, so basically roughly half a square. So if we're just doing this one without extra payments, we'll be coloring in about half a square each time. So these are my trackers. Join me every month as we do our debt payoff net worth update. And next month we'll actually be coloring in some of these squares. Total invested, we only invested $147 into the 401k because he left his old job for a new job, so we obviously didn't invest as much. And then, like I mentioned, we used about $442 worth of our project savings account. But all in all, we used about 27% of our income to help increase our net worth for the month of March. Yeah, so that was just a very quick run through. How much did we pay off on debt? What did we save or not save? What did we invest? How did the value change in some of our assets? And then just coloring in our charts here. So every little bit is still progress. And I printed out the charts so that the whole family can be involved and see, okay, we're making this progress on our emergency fund and paying off some of that debt. I hope these videos encourage you to track your own net worth and to come up with a plan for your future and figure out how you want to track it. As always, thanks for watching. I'll see you next month. Bye.